Hello, Boulder and the wider world. This is Philip Ogren from the Sharing Boulder podcast with a Sharing Boulder Extra. The Boulder Housing Network is a newsletter, blog, and grassroots political advocacy group that promotes, quote, ethical housing beneath the Flatirons. Their goal is, quote, to get more people involved where and when it matters most, in the early stages of the city's planning processes, end quote. I subscribe to their newsletter, and it is full of useful information. Frequently, articles in the newsletter relate to development projects that are in the planning or approval pipeline here in Boulder, along with commentary about the fitness of these projects as they relate to affordability and sustainability, along with encouragement on how to get involved in supporting specific projects. There's a lot of good stuff in these newsletters, and I hope you will subscribe today and get involved as you can. The Boulder Housing Network, or BHN, is 1 year old this month. I thought I would help them celebrate by reading the latest edition of the newsletter, which came out on Saturday, November 20th. You can subscribe and read more at boulderhousingnet.wordpress.com. I hope you enjoy hearing the latest from Boulder Housing Network. What's in this issue of Boulder Housing Network newsletter? 1. BHN is 1 year old this month and you are making a difference. Give us your feedback. 2. We're going to skip 2 because it's already past November 22nd. 3. New Boulder City Council's first concept review. Spruce Street Project, November 30th, 2021. We can do better. 4. Boulder Housing Equity Symposium, a report and where you can stream it. 5. Save the date. December 6th, 2021 at 7 p.m. Housing and Climate Change Symposium, sponsored by a variety of organizations including BHN, ECHO, Sierra Club, and SWEEP. 6. New York Times, Blue States, you are the problem. Housing inaction, NIMBY opposition, and burdensome regulations are the worst in blue states. Section 1. Boulder Housing Network is 1 year old this month, and you are making a difference. November marks BHN's 1 year anniversary. We're grateful to all the readers who take the time to follow Boulder's housing news, discuss with friends and neighbors, vote in local elections, and voice support for more affordable housing. Your letters and public comments to City Council and Planning Board are making a difference. How do we know? City officials have told us that when there are reasonable pro-housing comments in public meetings, the NIMBY voices are not as extreme, and the tone of the meetings is improved. It's not a good look for NIMBYs to complain about parking issues when a housing advocate says, "I just need a place to live." As you know, Boulder has a new city council. We're hoping this group will make the city's affordable and workforce housing a bigger priority, but we won't take anything for granted. We'll continue to produce this newsletter with the dual purpose of making sure our readers are informed about the city's housing efforts and bringing the many pro-affordable housing voices in our community to the table. We really want your comments about how we are doing. Won't you take a few minutes to answer this short survey on BHN? And you can find that survey at boulderhousingnet.wordpress.com. Section 2. Never mind, we're skipping Section 2. Section 3. Spruce Street Project, November 30th, 2021. We can do better. New City Council's first concept review. A proposed 63-unit townhouse and apartment development on the edge of Boulder's 28th Street commercial core is a great site for housing, but Phase 1 of the project proposes 14 large expensive units, 2,400 to 26 square feet, which will likely sell for $2.5 to $3 million each. All units in Phase 1 are for sale units. Phase 2 of the project proposes 45 apartments that are 960 to 1,600 square feet. There could be many more homes on this site, but only if City Council indicates support for this at the concept review that will occur on November 30th. We emphatically do not need 14 $3 million homes at this site. Rather, we need homes that are much smaller and therefore less expensive. Developers have created in Boulder lovely 3 and 4 bedroom homes and 1,200 square feet elsewhere, such as the Poplar Project, or below is an example of gentle infill. Each house in the photo below has 4 dwelling units. These 3 houses are set on a total of 0.3 acres and yet have a large shared backyard. Now is the time to add more housing and more affordability in this central Boulder location. This is a perfect site for housing close to the core of Boulder, but it should be developed at much higher density, enabling smaller units attainable to frontline workers. At its September 2nd, 2021 meeting, Planning Board could have expressed support for rezoning the site to allow twice as many units of half that size, but the board did not. The meeting was the first time the Spruce project came before Planning Board, so the ability of the board to influence the outcome of the project was at its zenith. City Council should direct staff to work with the developer to increase the density of the site just like it did at the Diagonal Plaza site review. Following the efficient design of the 3 fourplexes above, the developer in Phase 1 could provide 40 units of workforce housing rather than 14 large and expensive condos. The article continues by describing 3 things that can increase the affordability of housing at this site. I encourage you to check it out. Section 4, Boulder Housing Equity Symposium, a report and where you can stream it. Should Boulder follow the lead of cities like Minneapolis and outlaw single-family zoning? This was one of many questions to consider from a recent housing equity forum examining racism and exclusionary zoning and their lingering impact on affordable and diverse housing in Boulder. On November 10, 2021, the City of Boulder, the Boulder Chamber, and the Urban Land Institute, Colorado, hosted the live-streamed Boulder Housing Equity Symposium at E-Town Hall, which featured Congressman Joe Neguse and local and national speakers. The symposium, which can be streamed here, focused on Boulder's race and class history and how the city could begin a community dialogue to identify specific actions to address long-standing inequities. Kurt Fernhaber, Housing and Human Services Director for the city, said Boulder's comprehensive plan presents a vision for a compact, walkable, and transit-linked city offering diversity and adequate affordable housing. However, he said, often when we get closer to the comp plan vision through a specific development proposal, quote, the community becomes very uncomfortable, end quote. He said he hoped the symposium would prime the pump for our new city council to address housing equity. Boulder's new mayor, Aaron Brockett, city manager, Nuria Rivera Vandermeide, and other members of the city's Racial Equity Guiding Coalition attended the event. The BHN article continues by summarizing the various speakers, including Clay Fong, the city's manager of community relations and Office of Human Rights, Dr. Jennifer Fleury, a geography professor at the University of Colorado Boulder and director of the CU Boulder Affordable Housing Research Initiative, and Lisa Bender, president of the Minneapolis City Council and an urban planner. Narrators note, I am making good progress towards my own goal of watching the entire event, but got a bit distracted along the way. The CU Boulder Affordable Housing Research Initiative has recently launched a new podcast, and I listened to the first episode titled Los Seis de Boulder, which details 2 car bombings that took place in 1974 here in Boulder and killed 6 Latinx students, and explores the various ways in which racism persists in Boulder today. Section 5, Save the Date, December 6, 2021, at 7 p.m. for a Housing and Climate Change Symposium. Presenters from the Governor's Energy Office will focus on the connection between housing growth and development and climate change, and ways to provide housing that can limit harmful emissions. The event is geared to local officials who can help create affordable housing in ways that protect the earth. The public is welcome. Section 6. Blue states, you're the problem when it comes to housing. How jarring is it that neighborhoods full of Black Lives Matter and Welcome Everyone signs in 5 languages are the least hospitable to affordable housing? The authors contend, quote, you cannot say that you are against inequality in America unless you are willing to have affordable housing in your neighborhood, end quote. Watch this 14-minute piece from the New York Times from mid-November 2021 here. Announcement. Boulder Housing Network is looking for people interested in tracking and reporting on housing projects and policies as they move through Boulder's review processes. We are also looking for people to help us expand our reach on social media. If you want to learn while supporting housing, contact us today. BHN editors include Mark Bloomfield, Macon Cowles, founder and managing editor, Kathleen McCormick, Caitlin Ryan, Claudia Hansen-Thiem. Questions or comments about Boulder Housing Network newsletter can be addressed to Macon Cowles. This Sharing Boulder Extra was produced by Philip Ogren. The intro music was sampled from Osladum by Gilberto Gil and is available for use under the Creative Commons Sampling Plus license. Please visit us at sharingboulder.us for show notes and previous episodes.